video that has been admitted into evidence as exhibit number 7.
Objected to foundation.
This is a video taken by a drone that was hovering south of 63rd at the time that you shot Mr. Rosenbaum. We're going to play the beginning of this video on the iPad, and I'm going to have Detective Howard use the pinch and zoom feature on the iPad to zoom in on the area.
Object.
Yes,
Thank you.
Oh, finally.
There we go.
We got one.
Let's take a break. Please don't talk about the case during the break. Read,
Ooh, motions.
watch, or listen to any account of the trial.
Wow.
Hey, don't come watch us.
Just a break, but I hate
Pinch
This
to
came early,
zoom,
kids. We got
cropping
objection.
video is not accurate, especially when you get small, because it uses interpolation. That's an AI algorithm that is determining pixels that do not exist. So when you're going to talk about Kyle, who's a tiny figure at the point that they're talking about raising a gun, you're literally relying on the iPad's AI to determine what happens. And we know that Apple is opposed to guns, so it will show him raising the gun.
I think
no,
that's
forgetting
a stretch,
that.
But
It's a dark
not
area
fair.
also, so a few extra dark pixels can change the entire parameters,
Yes.
the
Yes.
direction of the
That's
gun and
true.
what it is. There is no way that this is reliable evidence, and the notion that this is going to get in here as a way of trying to impeach Kyle is so absurd. It's practically as bad as the Fifth Amendment violation.
But Joe, I saw it
shadow
on
can end up
CSI.
looking
It's
like the
totally
gun.
possible. It totally
Zoom,
happens on TV.
enhance, zoom and enhance.
at
Can
least
we get filters on this?
they're going to listen, hopefully.
Your Honor.
Can we get the lawyer cat filter?
Ooh,
What's their motions?
I think they went upstairs, though. Go
I
ahead.
think so.
Your Honor, I don't know what the state's going to do next, but I
They've proved
suspect
unreliable.
that it's something along the lines of they're going to use the iPad, and Mr. Binger was talking about pinching the screen.
Yeah, this hasn't actually been submitted.
iPads, which are made by Apple, have artificial intelligence in them that
Good job,
allow
Nick.
things
Nick.
viewed through three dimensions and logarithms. A
47's looking a lot less happy now.
Algorithm.
Algorithms.
And
Either way, that's
it
fine.
uses artificial intelligence or their logarithms to create what they believe is happening. So this isn't actually enhanced video. This is Apple's
Animation.
iPad programming, creating what it thinks is there, not what necessarily is there.
Finally.
And I don't know what's going to happen, but we had this video enhanced. We have testimony regarding it. And this is one of the topics that came up. I asked my expert, I said, do you know of anything that does something like that? Because that was when Detective Antaramian testified about pinching his telephone. And that's what I was told. And that's what I think this is going. And I don't
Irrefutable
think
objection.
that it's appropriate. It's wrong.
It's guesswork.
Mr. Binger?
And we haven't
Your
reviewed
Honor,
the
I
footage
think
we're about to
everybody
see.
in this room has a smartphone, whether it's an Apple iPhone or some other device.
So
And I think we've all
Are they all on trial for murder?
At one point or another, and use the pinch to zoom in feature. This is a
doesn't
common
make it accurate.
part
Yeah,
of
but that doesn't mean that it's
everyone's everyday life.
trial appropriate.
In
Yeah,
the old
we'll
days,
use-
you
we'll
had a
watch
photograph
cartoons
and
also. What does that
a
mean?
magnifying glass, right?
Another cartoon.
That doesn't
no,
change.
it's not analogous to a
photograph.
magnifying
Use a
glass.
Look at your
magnifying glass
feces.
to look at words on a paper or a photograph. The magnifying glass doesn't change the image.
But this does.
But this
It
does.
doesn't change
does.
the pixels on the paper. It doesn't change the words in the book.
Print it out and get a magnifying
That's the
glass.
difference.
Then.
That's the difference.
The pinch and zoom
This is
feature
guessing how to
on
fill it
the
in.
iPad or the iPhone
Oh, here we come with
or
the
the
disingenuous
Android phone,
argument.
whatever device everyone in this room has, does that exact same thing.
No,
It
you are
also
not.
No, it doesn't.
You are
has
misleading
actually
the court.
wrong.
Holy
say that
crap.
this is unreliable or distorting the image or something along those
No,
lines.
that's what it
Because
does.
This is something everybody in this room has done with countless videos and photos throughout
But
the
not
last
for evidence.
10 years of our lives.
Remember,
This is a
Schroeder already
disciplinary
doesn't trust him.
record.
In fact, this is a feature
Schroeder already doesn't
really
trust
like
what he
in America
says.
now with smartphones. If they want to have an expert come in and say it's unreliable and you can't believe what's on
That's
that
ridiculous.
screen,
After the jury looks at it,
they can do that.
that's
So
what
you bring an
saying.
expert.
Screw you.
And then the jury can make a decision as to whether or not pinching and zooming on an iPad or an iPhone is tampering with the video
No, that's
or
not.
altering
Why do
the
that
image
before
You're
the
going
court sees it?
a
reliable
2
or
megapixel
should be
video
viewed anyway.
versus a
So if they want to make
20
a jury question out of this,
megapixel or
they're
12
free
on
to
an
do so. We're still in
iPhone,
a case in
12
chief.
megapixel photo.
I don't frankly understand or agree with anything counsel just said. I've used my
You don't understand it, so how can you
You have to
disagree
do
with
it.
You
it?
don't understand it. My
Everyone's
expert told me about
knowledge
it. He should
to
win.
pinch and zoom on a screen.
You need to
That's
provide
what's
this
going
before the jury gets
Not
tainted by
change the
looking at
image
this
in any way.
fictional,
It just-
enhanced image.
Yeah, I think
Well,
we
I
would
don't
need to
know.
introduce
When
an
I
expert
put the
first
magnifying glass
on
up,
this
then
issue.
it's enlarging the image. It is not altering the image.
Yes.
What he's saying, and I think, and I know less than anyone in the room here, I'm sure about
Your Honor, we stipulate to that.
I'm hearing him to say that they're actually artificially inserting
Yes.
pixels into there, which is altering the object which is being portrayed. And so, you know what, I myself, when confronted with these changes in technology, what I usually do is to have
Weep.
to admit the evidence, but make sure that the finder of fact is aware.
Oh my God.
No.
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 Isn't
He
it-
said usually. He said usually.
By which it's been enhanced.
Defense hasn't even had an
You're
opportunity to
suggesting
review.
that I should make the defense bring in an expert for it.
Why didn't the prosecution bring an
Actually, you're
expert?
the one who's offering the
Yes.
exhibit, so you should
Yes.
have a position.
Yes,
To
thank
offer
you.
Evidence as to the fact that it is not distorting the object which is depicted.
I would submit, Your Honor, that I think it's common sense to everyone in this
I've got
room.
Eric.
on.
I've got Eric from the
Also saying
Genius
about
Bar.
Apple
He can
software
tell us.
law
The last
It's not
refuge of a
something
scoundrel.
people in this room are familiar with.
I thought I heard the expert say on the
He
stand.
did.
Believe me,
He did.
again, it's
Just ask him to take
not
notice of
something
this.
I'm familiar with, but I thought I heard the expert say that you brought down in from the crime lab that in fact that there were alterations made by adding pixels.
Yes.
Yes.
That's an alteration of the image.
Should have
Well,
never
I
been
don't have
admitted.
any problem with it being received, but you're going to have someone testify that it's
Yep.
a reliable, I don't want to say mirror image, but
Enhance.
because obviously if you insert more
Depiction.
items into an area of space, it's going to distort what's depicted.
I think, Your Honor, when the pinch and zoom maneuver is used on a screen, it actually
Don't lie to the court.
it takes the high resolution.
You've already
that you
said
see
you're not an
here,
expert.
and it brings it into the point where the pixels are actually spread out more.
I don't, you know what? I'm not going
Nope.
to
No.
accept as accurate what Richards is saying, and I'm not going to accept what you're telling me. I
Bring an
said
expert.
if you can offer
Smart.
somebody who's knowledgeable in these areas,
Why deal
Yep.
with this issue?
the document
And
or
put him
the,
on cross.
I think you should be
Before the
allowed to
jury
use
sees
the
it.
image.
Before the jury sees
But
it.
this is high risk. To me,
Yes.
if you insert more data into an area of space, well, you're wagging your head no.
There's no
Tell me
proof
where
of
I'm wrong.
that. There's no proof in this record that we're doing that, Your Honor.
I didn't say there was proof of that.
No
I
proof
said
you're
you
not.
have
Listen.
proof.
It's your evidence.
You're the proponent of the exhibit.
Yes.
Yes.
You need to
Your
tell me
burden.
it's
Good call,
reliable.
Uncle Bailey.
Already in evidence, Your Honor.
That I know.
The enhanced exhibit is not.
Look what happens when common
Yes.
sense happens.
Thank you.
Well, then why show it?
Right.
I mean, the reason you want to show it is so because it enhances the image, right? No, one at a time.
I'll say what Mr. Cross was just saying. The defense has taken videos and photos and cropped them, zoomed in on them on many exhibits in this trial.
And you didn't
Did you
object.
object?
Yeah.
Again, like I said, the magnifying glass is not changing the image. What the expert
That's
So
testified
not
get a magnifying
analogous.
glass.
They're misleading
Get a
the court.
magnifying glass. Use
was
that.
that he uses,
Yeah.
we called it
Yeah. Actually,
Give him
use the
original video
magnifying
and
glass.
magnifying
Judge
glass.
has
Let's
one.
see how well that works
software
out.
program he was using to create the additional images or the exhibits that were introduced with regard to this drone video. And he talked about what that software program does. He was not talking about the common, ordinary, everyday pinch and zoom feature on the Apple. They're two different things, Your Honor, and I want to be precise about this
Yes,
because
same
I
question
don't think it's
47
fair
times
to
in every
equate.
Let's pinch and zoom on Binger's DMs there, by the way. Post them to Twitter. Your best pinch and zooms.
I'm
There's
surprised
a
his
couple
home screen
tabloids
isn't.
in those DMs. We know it.
I'm surprised his home screen isn't Jar Jar Binks.
Every one of those jurors is familiar with this process.
What is that flag? Can we pinch and zoom on that?
Wait.
It's much like 100 years ago, people used magnifying glasses. This is no different than that. And
Yes, it
Every
is.
different.
I think
Then
it's
use a magnifying glass.
And
Like a
Or
damn
if it
magnifying
is,
glass.
get an expert in here to say that.
If the defense wants to quibble with it, they have an expert who can.
Oh, no, no,
That's not how
no.
that works.
The exhibit's
No.
already in evidence. It would be
Well,
no
first
different
off,
than me
first
holding up a photograph of it and then holding up an enlargement.
Then do that.
Yesterday with
Just
Walgreens
sleep.
prints.
He wants to flip the
Your
burden of
Honor,
proof.
I would know because I also work at the Apple Store because I'm a terrible prosecutor.
Well, that might be his next job.
Okay. It's not the judge again.
I don't want to hear about what happened earlier in the trial that came in without objection. If you
Damn
didn't
straight.
object,
Yes.
then I didn't address it. Now, I'm not going to police this case, so everybody, anytime somebody wants to put some evidence in, I'm going to say, well, wait a minute, what about that? What about that? I have to have an objection. I get an objection, and then I rule on it. There has been no objection during this trial when either side has exploded an image or anything like that. If you'd have brought in an objection, if he'd have brought in an objection, I would have ruled on it. But to say now, well, this has already been done during the trial. I've got an objection in front of me now. He's suggesting that the amplifying the image is altering what is portrayed, the image which is portrayed. And you're giving me as a defense, it's no different from using a magnifying glass. I don't believe that.
Damn
Because if I take
Yep.
the image is the same, and all it is doing is improving my poor old vision. Here,
Judge.
someone to correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe the expert testified that he had
Judge is relying
inserted,
on what he
or
heard.
either him or the device inserted additional pixels into the image.
Yes.
That
Different program, Your Honor.
Doesn't
I don't know
matter.
what kind of a I don't care
It's
what
this
kind of a
fucking
program it is.
screen.
Yes.
It has
Is
to
the-
fill pixels.
Is
period.
the image in its virginal state?
Virginal.
I care about what program it is, Your Honor, because these are technical issues. Mr. Richards has just
Then bring an expert.
with no basis whatsoever. Absolutely. Mr. Richards has just made technical representations with no basis
So have
in his
you.
record whatsoever.
Yeah,
He's
sorry.
using a
Same.
common part of life
And his are
that
accurate.
everyone uses
You're
every
lying.
single day. The expert
I lie to
Doesn't matter
people
how
every day. Can
often
I
people use
can I
them,
lie
it
in
doesn't
court?
change how it
It
works.
does make a difference.
I don't know.
Well, then if it's going to be an issue, let's
You're the
give it a shot.
proponent. I said before, I'm not going to talk about it further. You're the proponent, and you need to assure me before I let the jury speculate on it,
Mhm.
that it is a reliable method that does not distort.
Go hire an expert for tomorrow, Binger.
So,
Okay, so we're going to take a break.
I understood you correctly. We can play it now, and then we'll tie
No.
it up later.
No,
No.
No.
What I
no.
said.
That's
No.
You
basically
said
not
the
what I
opposite of those
said.
things.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I did. If I said that, shame on me.
No,
I
you
said-
said ordinarily do that.
Yeah, I said
That's not what I
that
said.
we're going to take a break right now.
Disingenuous.
And I said, before I'm going to allow this to be amplified in the way that you want, it is going to have to be shown, demonstrated to me that it's a reliable way to do it.
Then
Mhm.
you're requesting adjournment to do that now.
Well, we're not going to adjourn the case now to do that.
Well, before I am done with my cross-examination of this witness, I would like to
Wait,
use this
wait,
video,
wait.
and I will
Yeah,
need some
seriously.
time to make arrangements for when
The
you're
attitude.
I would ask that before I am, I would like
Yeah, at
time
least get
to
your
set
witness to make a
up
proffer.
cross-examine this witness, because this is an important exhibit that I intend to use with
Well,
this
it
witness.
depends. Why don't you get on it right away? And, maybe you can get somebody
Chop
to
chop, buddy.
testify on this within minutes. I don't know. So we'll take
You
a
got John Black right there. Ask him.
System or the Zoom and the iPad?
We can answer that question. I know.
Binger's next case needs to be Binger versus the disciplinary board.
What software are they using on the iPad? We don't know.
We
Thank
don't
you.
know.
Let's aim for 320 on that clock, which is
By the way,